Exclamation, everybody, and welcome back to Cube Ramblings. For me, it is Sunday morning, November the 22nd, 2015. I hope everyone has had a excellent and awesome week. We're getting close to all the family times and the turkey days and the shopping days as it comes by. So lots of things to look forward to, lots of things to get psyched up about. I'm psyched up about having a nice little vacation for myself. Got a nice long weekend coming up, and I'm going to attempt to do the best I can to record and live stream and do whatever I can as soon as I can, or as much as I can, or one of those I cans that I can come up with. So hope everyone is psyched up, and we've had a decent week here as well. Been playing some games. Got a few tidbits of news here and there, and probably enough to tide me through this episode. So let's without further ado, let's get down to business. The first thing, obviously, we'll give you some updates on Cube World news. Just two little tidbits here. One is that, and both of them are around quests. So according to Wale, for tweets this week, quests are going to be levelless now. I don't know why I put a T in there, but I did. It is late. I can't help myself sometimes. And they will scale to each player. So even if you're in a multiplayer server, it's going to scale to, I guess, the average of the players. Who knows? It'll scale to, I guess, whoever takes the quest, maybe. And the enemy power will be adapted to each player. High-level players will still have advantages over the enemies. So the interesting thing about this is that right now, as you occasionally maybe look at the video as I'm playing stuff, I'm over level 300. I'm like, I don't even remember what level I am right now, but pretty high level. I still run into very frequently many areas where it's the enemy, the boss monster, is really difficult. And I have been trying for ages and ages to get to power 100 because I have some recipes in my inventory that were for power 100 that I got way back when I was just level 1 or 2. And I still have not been able to get, like, my guy is pretty much tapped out right now at level like 96. And I've been trying to figure out, like, how can I get this guy up to level 100 on power so I can actually use some of those recipes for a change. And I have not yet been able to do that. So I assume that the enemies that I'm running up against are like power 100 or something, which is why I'm having trouble with them. I don't know. Not entirely sure. That said, it makes sense since the quests are so dynamic that they would have to sort of, since you can't balance them ahead of time, it makes sense that they would have some sort of dynamic leveling system. Especially, you don't want to do what kind of happens now in Cube World in the early game when you're kind of thrown into an area and you can't fight anybody because they're just so high level that they just wreck you in no time flat. So I'm down with the decision on that. The interesting sort of side thing that kind of brings up, and I'm wondering if this is something that will happen or if it'll be more of a something that just isn't worth it. I don't know. Every time I think of the leveling, like adaptive leveling and all that stuff, I think about Oblivion, the Elder Scrolls Oblivion, a game I really loved and still love. Played it on 360, Xbox 360 many years ago, and the thing that I'm also the type of person that doesn't care about spoilers either, usually. So when I bought that game, I actually went on to like GameFAQs or something, and just read through a lot of the FAQs on it just to make sure that I didn't miss anything that I wanted and all that stuff. And one of the things they mentioned there was the dynamic leveling. And what they mentioned was, hey, you know, as you're doing the main quest and you're doing all the Oblivion gates, which pop up during the quest, you have to do, I think you had to do like 6 or 7 of them for the main quest, but then there was also, you could do up to 12, maybe 20. I don't remember what it was. I know there was a certain number that you had to do, absolutely had to do, but then there were more Oblivion gates above that that you could do optionally. And if you did all of them, where you go through the gate, you go to Oblivion, you collect the crystal shard or whatever it is at the end, and then come back. If you did all of them, you would get the maximum support in like one of the final missions when you're trying to actually shut down the big Oblivion gate, because you have to go back into Oblivion one more time, and you have a bunch of heroes and stuff that will help you. But the more Oblivion gates you shut down, the more that they will help you, because otherwise they'll be off trying to defend their own realms from things. So what I did was, when I read that, I went through the game, and I had already started playing the game, but then I read that and I was like, oh, you know, I should do this a little bit differently. So I went through the game and I stopped, like I continued playing, but I didn't actually level my guys up. Like, you know how it gets to like the level up, thumbs up, whatever it is, and then you have to click on that and then you assign attributes and stuff. Well, that game and actually most RPGs didn't sort of count me as a higher level until I actually went through and assigned the attributes. So as far as the game was concerned, I was still level 9, even though I had the level up ability, even though I was beyond that in experience points. And most RPGs work that way, right? They don't actually level you up until you go and put points into stuff, because you know, they can't level you up and then make all the stuff harder for you, or give you access to things and then you didn't actually put any perks in or stuff like that. You know what I mean? So what I did was, because of the balancing levels that they did, was I actually kept my guy at level 9, which was about as high as I could go without it, and still be able to complete things. So I got to level 9 and went through the rest of the main quest that way. So even though I was doing side quests like I always do and all that stuff, I just never clicked on the level up button. And I got tons and tons of levels above that, but I just stayed there. Went through the entire main quest, because you could do the whole thing at level 9. It just made all the monsters easier, much easier for you. So even when you're at the end of the final mission, it was like, oh, it's not so bad. And like that final Oblivion gate actually wasn't all that terrible, especially with all the help I had. So grinding out all the Oblivion gates though was a bit of a pain. And I did run into a few along the way where it really was terrible, but I managed to do that, got through all that, got all the way through the end of the final, quest, beat the main quest in the game, and then after that I decided I wanted to go and do a lot of the, I was going on sort of an achievement hunt. So I was like, let me go start doing all the guild quests and everything. I had done a few of them. I think I did in the Fighters Guild a little bit and stuff like that, but I wanted to go back and do all the guilds, even the Dark Brotherhood and all that stuff. So after I had beat the main quest, I was like, well, there's no point in keeping myself at level 9 anymore. I might as well go level up and get all my perks. So I leveled, I think I went from level 9 all the way up to like 30 or something. Because that's how many levels I had banked and not actually put any points in. That was pretty funny doing that. But that's kind of the downfall. It's one of the, I know, criticisms that is leveled against that game quite a bit is because of that. People are like, oh, this is now it's like a meta game now. I'm sort of gaming the game, or I don't have to level up things, or the game is, I can't go in and just wreck things. The game's always adjusting for stuff, and it's like, well, I thought, honestly, playing it, I thought it was a really good idea, But yeah, it was broken in that regard, where it was like, yeah, I could just play this game at level 9 all the way through and just bank all the points. That said, it was still I didn't think it was that bad. But there are others who have their opinions on that, and I'm just wondering if, you know, this whole cube world thing with the you know, quests not having levels that sort of modeled towards your character. I'm wondering if it's going to kind of suffer from the same thing a little bit. But then again, upon saying that, I don't think in this case, I don't think the level is like, you will continue to level up even when you don't put points in. So, which is true of other RPGs, but in this one, I don't think it's. I think the level count, your actual level number, is separate from the perks that you've put out on. So your level number will continue to go up, even though you haven't spent any of your points. So I think that might negate the Oblivion problem, if you'll call it that, where things are going to continue to get harder, and you better just spend your points and not bank them, because you're going to need them probably. So that's I like that. I think that's. I mean, I can't imagine doing it a different way. Like you would run into the problem that you run into now, where a level 40 dungeon spawns in your level 1 town next to it. It makes more sense if it's more of a progression, especially if there's going to be and I don't know if this is true or not, but it may be make more sense if you always, when you start a new world, if you always start out in a level 1 area, and then all the areas around that dynamically increase as you go, or something to that effect. I think that would be a cool thing. Although I don't really like being restricted to an area when I'm early on. Like, I like to do exploring as much as possible. So the other flip side of that is, it is kind of nice when things are like spread out a little bit. Like, I can walk 300 meters and still come upon something that is my level. But that's neither here nor there. I think all this stuff is good stuff, and I'm just waiting to see what it looks like in the update whenever we get it. So that has been my Cube World jaunt. That's all the information I have up to this point. So, other things in the news here. We got some news about the Deus Ex Mankind Divided. So, I had mentioned either last week or the week before that there were 3 games, I think, being released with target release dates of February of next year. And Deus Ex Mankind Divided was one, Mirror's Edge Catalyst was the other one, and there's a third one in there that is no longer in my brain. And it's another biggie, and I can't recall it right now. Well, Mirror's Edge Catalyst got pushed back to September, I believe, if I remember correctly. And now we've gotten news that Deus Ex Mankind Divided has been pushed back to August 23rd of 2016. So we're going to have to wait a few more months to see what Deus Ex Mankind Divided will bring to us. It sounds like, though, from the reviewers who had access to it early, it was already doing pretty good, the game itself. So there's been sort of a collective, if it's already that good, then give them the 6 months they need to make it even better. And I'm cool with that too. So it's now kind of, everything's kind of spread out a little bit. I don't know, for me personally, it's like, okay, I've got 2 games coming up that I really want to play. How the heck am I going to do it? Like, there's no way I'm going to grind through or drive through Mirror's Edge, or not Mirror's Edge, Deus Ex in like a week. That's not going to happen. That's one of those. That's another one of those 80, 100 hour jaunts probably. And whereas Mirror's Edge Catalyst, who knows? It's an open world now. It might be a 20-hour game. Who knows at that point either? So that's a whole lot of stuff coming up next year that I'll need to dig into, and I'm sure everybody else will be happy with what they see and what they get. And I don't know, like I said when I was talking about the Mirror's Edge thing, I don't know how much of an overlay there is between people who enjoy Mirror's Edge versus people who enjoy Deus Ex. So, maybe I'm in the minority with that particular thing, with that conundrum that I face. But yes, unfortunately, it has been pushed back to the 23rd. But if it gives us an even better, more stellar product in the end, then that is cool by me. Though it does beg the question, if they had not gotten rid of that crazy pre-order stuff that they were doing, where you get to a certain tier, it's released early. I wonder if that tier had been unlocked, if that had not been a flop, that pre-order scheme that they were doing, would they have continued to push for February, or would that have been delayed? And if so, would all that stuff still apply? Would there be, would you still have access to it early? It's kind of a weird one there. So that's neither here nor there, though. That's all taken care of now. So let's not beat that dead horse more than we need to. But yes, there we go. That is Deus Ex Mankind Divided news. And then this week I played the episode 5, the final, or episode 6. Yes, episode 6, the final episode of the first season of Telltale's Game of Thrones. And it was good. The final episode was really good. It tied up a lot of ends that were there, and it also left it open for a second season. There's a lot of threads still hanging around. It was very much reminiscent of like the first season of Game of Thrones, where it's like, okay, at the end of the season, like the main characters are dead and everyone else is scattered to the winds, and now it looks like there's no hope, but there's still hope and all that stuff. So it's an interesting one. It's pretty good. To me, it's not as good as Tales from the Borderlands was, as far as giving you characters that you really care about and really making good use of the world. Let's face it. Game of Thrones is a bloody mess with a lot of intrigue and stuff like that. And Telltale's Game of Thrones had some of that, but it just barely sort of scraped the surface. It didn't hang around too long on any one particular thing, except when there was not a whole lot to do. Then it really hung along. But it felt like I really, to be honest, don't care for any of the characters that they had in there. Like, there was no character I was like, I don't want this character to die, except for maybe Roderick. Not Roderick. What's his name? I can't remember his name, but he was the one that starts out the game over in Marine, and then he comes across the sea and helps out Roderick and all that stuff. I can't think of the guy's name. He was prominent in my final episode because I let Roderick die at the end of the last episode, but it was I would say of all the characters in there, he was probably the only one that I was actually rooting for throughout that game. And that's kind of weird, right? I mean, I get it. There's going to be characters that die and stuff, but the character deaths don't matter if you don't really care about them, per se, or they haven't been around long enough for you to care about them. And had he died, I probably would have cared about it, but he's really the only character in the game that I feel is worth any screen time, honestly. The rest of them are just kind of just there. They're just fodder. They're not really well fleshed out. And I'm talking about the characters that that have not had backstories from the show yet. I'm talking about the Forrester clan, and the White Hills and all that stuff, or White Halls, or whatever you call them. Like, those are new-ish families. Those are families that haven't been introduced. They were introduced, in passing in the books, but they were not introduced in the TV series at all, which is what most people are probably familiar with. So I feel like those, the TV personalities that are on there, you kind of care about because you've built that up if you watched the TV series. For the other ones that they created, not so much, except for that one guy. But it's about the only guy I can point to and go like, yeah, I kind of don't want him to perish at all. And I'm trying not to spoil, even though my final episode went up on Saturday, I'm still not trying to spoil it for anybody in case you want to watch it. But yeah, it's I don't know. I'm just above meh as far as that game goes. I liked it. I like the story. I feel like it was kind of bare bones though at times and kind of basic as far as the story goes. When I compare it to like Tales from Borderlands, I think Tales from Borderlands was just fantastic. And I really, really, really want them to do a second season of that. But the reason I bring up Game of Thrones is because Telltale has just announced that Telltale's Game of Thrones will be getting a second season. Second season will be coming for that. But like I said, I'm crossing my fingers. I'm really hoping hard that they, do a second season of Tales from the Borderlands, because I think that was the best Telltale game that I've played to date, honestly. And I haven't played all of them. There's earlier ones that I've heard are pretty good, like The Wolf Among Us and The Walking Dead, although, to be fair, I would never probably play The Walking Dead because I'm just not... The zombie apocalypse stuff is like... It's one of those tropes in my head that I feel is just... every time it happens, I just roll my eyes and go, oh, I gotta go deal with this now. I gotta deal with this again. It's like, it's not necessarily... what's the word I want to use? It's not necessarily bringing anything new to the plate, right? It's not really necessarily putting anything new on it. If you look at what was it? The Last of Us? Was that the name of it? You look at The Last of Us, that sort of brought something a little bit new to the zombie apocalypse thing, where it was a little bit fresh. It was fresher in some of its things. I mean, it still had a lot of the well-worn tropes and stuff, like, oh, what do you do with this? What do you do with that? But it, you got the zombies that are bloated and explode, and you got the slow-moving ones, and you got the fast-moving ones, and all this. It's like, yeah, okay, we get it, it's fine. But it did bring like that sort of emotional dynamic into it that hadn't really been there yet. And the Walking Dead TV series has brought some of that with it, but and I imagine, from what I've seen of Telltale's Walking Dead, it also did a little bit of that, but it's still, I don't know, it was never enough for me to do that yet. It would have to be something completely different, I would think, or at least so ridiculously beautiful that I just absolutely have to play it. And I'm thinking about, there is a game that is like that. It's a sci-fi game. It's like zombie apocalypse that's in development right now that I'm going to end up playing because it's just so damn beautiful. Just from what I've seen of it. It's called Pamela, I think, which is an acronym. But yeah, I'll end up playing that, even though it's the same stuff that I'm complaining about right now, just because it's freaking gorgeous looking. Gorgeous. It's gorgeous. So sometimes that will override my better judgment. So yeah, that is the scoop as far as Telltale's properties. Game of Thrones is definitely getting a second season, and also while I'm on the subject, Minecraft Story Mode episode 3 will be out on the 24th, Tuesday. I will be doing my usual. Since I have the season pass, I will might as well record it. I'm hoping for a lot better than what we got in episode 2. My expectations are not very high, though. I get it. I get that it's a targeted towards the younger demographic and all that stuff, and that's cool. But even youngins could stand to have a good story. You don't have to skimp on that just because you did that. I mean, there's plenty of cartoons that I remember watching as a kid that had really good story on them. The first one that actually jumps to my mind is Exo Squad, which I've gushed on about in many podcast episodes. So I'm not gonna wear out the carpet on that one. But and then there were others that were just filler, And even as a kid, I was like, well, I'll just have this play in the background while I do other things, It's the old, I got homework to do, so while I'm doing that, I need something on in the background, just for the sake of having it on. And I used to, have all kinds of things on TV playing in the background while I was doing other things in the foreground. So I don't know why that ever was a thing that I needed. Like I couldn't. It was like, I guess it was more of a, I was doing a task that I didn't really feel like doing, i.e. homework. And in order to make it bearable, I needed like the TV on in the background so that it would distract me from time to time. So I could just like do, a few math problems here and there, and then turn around and, something on to watch for a second, and then turn back. And I guess that's what it was. I guess it was more of a trying to keep my brain from melting and under the boredom that was creeping into it. But I digress. More of a tangent going on there as usual. So yeah, that's Minecraft Story Mode. Apparently we will get to see Soren or not Soren. Is that, who are we going after? See, I don't even know what the names don't even stick with you. It's such a slog. The names don't even stick with you. Was it Soren that we're going after? I think it was Soren. One of those. It's the final person of the Order of the Light or whatever, Order of the Stone, whatever it was, that we're going after. Apparently we'll get to hear him for a change. That'll be something different, I suppose. And like I said, I'm really hoping for a good story there. Maybe the story will pick up. Maybe that second episode was a fluke or something. Although it does appear that they are releasing this at a much accelerated pace. This is far more accelerated than Telltale usually releases things. So either that means they have the whole thing done and they're just putting the polishing touches on it, or perhaps it's something with Mojang. Perhaps Mojang wanted them to do this in this way in order to have access to their IP. I don't know. It's just a weird one. I'm hoping that it's not just indicative that they've been rushing it, because it felt like episode 2 was rushed. It really did. But who knows? Who knows at this point? I don't have the answers to that. So we'll move on then. While we're speaking of episodic things, I read some news that Blues and Bullets, a game that I played episode 1 of a few months ago. It's a nice little noir film-like thing where it's like a Telltale game. It's a point-and-click kind of, but it also has has some gun mechanics in it, some first person shooting. Well, it was actually, was it first person shooting or third person? I can't remember. Where you take on the role of Elliot Ness, and you're researching, you're looking into the disappearance of some children, and they've disappeared under the sort of occultish circumstances. So it's very interesting. I liked the first episode. I'm waiting for a second episode. It sounds like the second episode will be coming in late January, though I've heard I read some rumors on Steam, and I don't, take these for the grain of salt that they are. In fact, take them for an entire salt shaker of salt. I heard rumors that they might release that a little bit earlier, and it might actually come out this year, but they officially say late January, so I'm going to stick with late January since that's the official word and not the unofficial rumor mill. But I am stoked for that. I can't wait to see how well they do in episode 2. And I still, the interesting thing about that is, I was looking at it on Steam, and normally with an episodic game like that, you would probably have all the achievements because it's just, it's very linear. I'm actually missing one of the achievements, which is find all the clues. Apparently I missed the clue somewhere along the way and I didn't get that achievement. So that's an interesting one. I'll see if I don't think I'll ever be able to get that back, but that's, I just happened to notice that while I was looking at things. Just a random nugget of information. I don't know. Why was that important? I don't know. It was in my brain. It needed to get out. Pity me for not having all the achievements. My achievement hunting days are numbered. Oh, that said, again, while we're talking about Steam, the segues, somehow I'm doing them this time. Steam has announced that the autumn and winter sales are coming, but they will not be doing any more daily or flash deals like they were. In fact, the things that are on sale are going to stay at the same price throughout the sale. I guess this is due to, I don't know if this is due to just feedback, negative feedback. I don't know exactly the reason for it. But it is something that they are starting to look into now, or something that they're going to be doing. And also, in addition to that, we have some dates here as to when these sales will be running. The autumn sale is going to be running from next Wednesday the 25th through to Tuesday the 1st of December. And then the winter sale will run from the 22nd of December till the 4th of January. So they're covering their bases there. They're covering Black Friday, and they're covering the Christmas holidays, or at least the end of year holidays, I should say. So to be a little bit more politically correct with that. Whatever. So that's going to be a thing. So you keep an eye on that. You'll know at least now when the Steam deals are rolling. And again, with a seamless transition here, while we're talking about deals, Xbox One, Microsoft has put up the list of deals for Xbox One and Xbox 360 games that are on sale. It's called the early quote unquote early Black Friday sale. And I'm going to go through the list here, and at least, I'm not going to rattle off the whole thing. There's like 150 games or something like that are going to be on sale, or are on sale right now. I'm just going to pick up the ones that I think are pretty interesting here. So Battlefield Hardline Standard Edition is 40% off for the Xbox One edition and 30 for the Xbox 360, I believe. Is that how they're doing this slash here? I guess it is. So Battlefield Hardline Standard Edition, that's pretty good. I played that in a live stream when it came out, and I enjoyed it. I only played the single player on that. I know most people will pick up a Battlefield game and they'll just play the multiplayer and then that's it. But I kind of prefer the single player experience on things, and it was passable. it wasn't that bad. So that's good. That's on sale right now for the Xbox platforms. Blues and Bullets Episode 1. I've already talked about that. Borderlands: The Handsome Collection is going to be 60% off for the Xbox One and 50% off for the 360. I think I'm reading this right. I might be reading it the opposite way. Not entirely sure. But that's I have the Borderlands: The Handsome Collection and all those things on PC already. So I got them in a Humble Bundle, I think. So I have all that stuff already. But it's not bad. I've been playing through Borderlands 1 on stream, which I need to get back to again because I was about 25 hours into it, and I want to get through that game. And I really want to get through the entire series, but it's going to take me a while to do that. So at least get me one step along and get through I want to get through Borderlands 1, and I want to get through all the DLC for Borderlands 1, and then I can start to look at some other things, or start to, at least have that feather in my cap, and then I can eventually circle back around to the other Borderlands games in the series. Dark Souls 2, Scholar of the First Sin, which is that just the... See, I know nothing about Dark Souls, so I don't know if that's just the DLC for it, or if that's the actual full title of Dark Souls 2, like Dark Souls and the subtitle. I don't know, but that's the that's on sale, 50% off. And let's see what else on here. Forza Horizon 2. Ultimate 10th Anniversary Edition. I don't know what any of this... So there's a bunch of them on here. There's the Car Pass, which I don't know how much this gives you, but there's Forza Horizon 2 Car Pass. There's the Deluxe 10th Anniversary Edition, the Standard 10th Anniversary Edition, and the Ultimate 10th Anniversary Edition. I don't know who is 10th Anniversary or what. Is that the 10th Anniversary of the Forza series, maybe? Because I know Forza Horizon 2 has not been out for 10 years, that's for damn sure. But Forza Horizon 2 is a lot of fun, and I enjoyed my time with it. I still have some DLC that I haven't played through on that, but it was a very nice game. It recorded well. It looked really, really good. There were times when I was just driving around the countryside, and I'm like, man, this looks really cool out here. I do like the open world racing games rather than the jump from one course to another racing games. I really do like the open world ones because they give you the ability to just kind of drive around. If they're nice and they're done well, they give you the ability to just kind of drive around and take in some of the sights sometimes. Give you some cohesion between all the different areas too. Grand Theft Auto 5 and Grand Theft Auto 5 Great White Shark Card Bundle. I can't speak to any of that. I haven't played a Grand Theft Auto game since 3, and I didn't play that all the way through either because I got bored of it. So yeah, not big into the Grand Theft Auto, into the GTA franchise, honestly. What else on here looks halfway decent? Metro Redux Bundle. I think that's the whole Metro 2033 and Metro Last Light, I think, is the whole bundle for that, where they actually took the original games and remastered them, possibly. We've reached the limits of what I know about that. I'm only looking at a bulleted list here, so I couldn't tell you anything more than that. But it's I think Metro 2033 and the original Metro. I have both versions of one of them, of the first one, I think, where it's like the enhanced edition and the non-enhanced one for graphics and all that stuff. So, and I got those in another bundle. And I haven't played them, so I don't know what they're like. I've seen some people streaming them, and they look interesting, but I don't. They look a lot like just a corridor shooter with RPG elements. It's basically they're like a Fallout game, more like say, Fallout 3 than Fallout 4, say. Minecraft Story Mode, the Complete Edition. Meh, I would pass on that. What else do we got on here? We got... Trying to look through, and Tales from the Borderlands Complete Season. And the Season Pass. That's weird. I wonder why that's on there like that. Yeah, they got Tales from the Borderlands Complete Season, episodes 1 through 5 is 60% off. And then they've got Tales from the Borderlands Season Pass, episodes 2 through 5, 50% off. So I guess that's more for people who have bought the first episode, or they gave the first episode away for free at some point, didn't they? I think they did, and so maybe that's for them. Yeah, whatever. But anyway, I would definitely pick that up. I know you gotta be sort of a fan of Telltale games, kind of. But even if you're not, even if it's your first Telltale game, like, I would still pick it up because you don't have to be a fan of the Borderlands franchise. In fact, I didn't know anything about Borderlands, really, until I played Tales from the Borderlands episode 1, and then I was like, you know what? I really like this world, and I went and bought Borderlands, the whole collection, and you find out that the story in Tales from Borderlands is actually far more fleshed out than the story in the Borderlands games themselves, but they're based on the same universe, and it's just, it might be the thing that gets you into the Borderlands series itself, like it did with me. Even probably not based on the story, obviously, but it's still, it's really good, and you really do owe it to yourself. It's got a little bit of gore in it, kind of in the Telltale gore-ish way, but the humor makes it, and it really does a good justice to the universe, I think, to the Borderlands universe. So there's that. And then the Telltale Games collection, which I have no idea what's in that. I guess maybe every Telltale game is in that. Who knows? 67% off. There you go. I'm just looking at a bulleted list. Xbox 360 games with the Xbox One compatibility. What do we got in here? We got Assassin's Creed 2, BattleBlock Theater, Beyond Good and Evil HD, Borderlands, the original Borderlands, Castle Crashers, which actually the original Borderlands, now I'm thinking about it, I would pick that up. Even if you don't want to pick up the entire series, like, you should probably pick that up. It's not bad. It's not that bad. It's not very deep, but it's still decent. It does have some frustrating things about it where you got to do a lot of backtracking, and they don't open up fast travel for you right away, so you got to go back through all these damn things that you've already killed. You know, things respawn a lot. But other than that, if you can look past a bunch of that, it's pretty decent and it's pretty fun. Castle Crashers, Gears of War, Mass Effect, the original Mass Effect. I would definitely pick that up if I were you, if you're into sci-fi stuff, if you're into RPGs. It is a third-person RPG. It's very, very good. It's probably, as far as the series goes, it's the second best in the series. The first being, in my opinion, Mass Effect 2, and then followed by Mass Effect, and then Mass Effect 3, I have no idea. I haven't played it, but I've heard others rank it pretty low in terms of how it fits into the rest of the genre, into the rest of the series anyway. So yeah, I would definitely pick up the original, at least pick up the original Mass Effect. See if it's something that you're into or not. Might Magic Clash of Heroes, Prince of Persia, and The Secret of Monkey Island Special Edition. Those are the ones with the Xbox One compatibility that are 360 games. And then 360 games that aren't backwards compatible. By the way, the ones I was talking about earlier were Xbox One games. I didn't realize that there were subtitles here. Sorry about that. 360 games without backwards compatibility. Assassin's Creed 3, I have no idea if that's any good or not. Let's see if I can find something on here that's decent. So you got Borderlands 2 and Borderlands the pre-sequel. Haven't played them yet, but I want to mention them anyway since I've mentioned Borderlands about 90 times by this point. Fallout New Vegas. Let's try it again. Fallout New Vegas is 50% off. Why is that? Why does it say 50% and then 40% if it's all Xbox 360? I don't know. I don't know how they've written this thing up. It's very weird. Fallout 4 is the first Fallout game I've ever played, so I don't know. I've heard that New Vegas was a really good expansion for Fallout 3, and probably the better of the Fallout 3 things. So there's that. Anyway, Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon. I actually own this game. I was intending to play it, and I have not done that yet. So we'll see what happens with that. Forza Horizon 2, like I said, you should probably pick that up. I don't know how that looks on the 360. The Xbox One, it was quite nice. 360, I'm sure they've probably scaled it down a bit, the geometry and stuff. So I don't know if you're going to buy it. Yeah, I mean, if the 360 is all you got, then go for it. But note that it probably, I imagine, looks better on the Xbox One. Who knows? Because it's got more power than the other one. But haven't played it on the 360, so I can't do a comparison for you. Halo 4. I actually own that on the 360 myself. I have not. I gotten past the first mission on it, the single player, and then haven't been back to it. So, I can't tell you whether or not that's any good. We've got. I don't know. I have not played any of the Max Payne games. Max Payne 3 is on here. That's one of those franchises. I'm not sure if it's one that I would like or not. It seems like something that I would like, at least at first blush, but I never actually tried any of them, so I have no idea if they're any good or not. Maybe that's something I'll write down on my list of things that I should probably play before I kick the bucket. So I'll write that down when we're done recording here and see, and maybe I'll come back to that at some point. What else on here? Not much. Red Dead Redemption, I've heard is pretty good, but never played it myself. That's about it. Titanfall Deluxe Edition on the 360, if you really want that. It's like 75% off, so hey, there you go. And the orange box is on here again with 75% off. That's been around for ages and ages. But yeah, that gives you up to speed with some of the deals that are coming down, that are down now for Microsoft. If you own a Microsoft console, you should probably get your kicks in now as soon as you can. And then to this week for side quests, I know I only got one side quest video out because I got behind in recordings. But the one I got out, I thought was really good. It's called Paladins. It's in early closed beta right now. You can buy into it with for $20 or so US, and get the founders pack and then get access to the whole thing. And actually, they're free. Their closed beta weekend is kind of ending this weekend, and then they're going back to a very limited, only people who have access. I don't know exactly what they're doing, but they're allowing more people in for this weekend, I think, and then restricting them later. I don't know how that works. I don't know exactly what they're going to do with that, but it's a 5v5 team-based shooter. It is by Hi-Rez Studios, the people who have made and continue to support Smite. If you're familiar with that, that's a MOBA, third-person 3D MOBA as opposed to top-down, and it's I'm enjoying it. It's one of those things. In many ways, I'm sure it probably reminds people of Overwatch, at least from the stuff that I've watched, the videos I've watched of it. It reminds me a little bit of that. Probably a little bit of Team Fortress 2 in there too, but it's you are running and gunning, and going up against enemies. There are capture points you have to grab, and then once you hold on to the capture point for a certain amount of time, it spawns a siege cannon. Then you escort the siege cannon, which actually moves really fast right now. I assume that's something they'll tweak later on. But the siege cannon moves really fast to the other team's fortress, and then starts to try to take down their gates to the fortress. There's 2 gates and then a vault. And the idea is that you have to break down 2 gates of the other player of the opposite team, and then break down the vault and get into their vault and take their gold and stuff. And when you get to the vault area, you have to actually participate in destroying that. Like the first 2 stop-offs, the first 2 barriers that the siege engine has to get through, it pretty much takes care of them itself. You can't really damage them per se as a player. But then when it gets to the vaults, it'll do damage, but not a whole lot. I think the damage is like halved or something. And you need to, as players, you need to also not only protect the siege weapon, but also do damage to the vault itself to help it along, right? Because when your siege cannon dies, you can't continue attacking the vault. You can only attack the vault when you have a siege cannon there, which I found out the hard way in practice the one time. The other thing about it is too, the sprinting is basically you get on horseback. You can't sprint yourself. You have to get on the horseback to do it. From what I can tell, at least in the game, maybe, I mean, there's a mapping there for sprint, but I think that's actually the mount, because it was left shift for that. So, and that's what I do for the mount. So I think that's exactly how it's supposed to play, which makes it rough, because if you're in the enemy's fort and you're trying to defend your siege cannon for as long as you can from the enemy, so that they can't, so they don't destroy it right away. When that does get destroyed, and it's inevitable that it will, you are pretty much ridiculously vulnerable at that point. Like you can't run away. You can get on your horseback and try to gallop away, but as soon as somebody hits you, you get knocked off your horse, and then you're stuck on a cooldown. You can't get back on it, and you can't run away either. You have to walk away at a brisk pace. So what you see end up happening a lot of times is people will get caught, like they'll go and help out the siege weapon, and then that'll get destroyed, and then they try to make a beeline out of there, but they end up getting just shot in the back by the other team because they can't get away from them fast enough. So I'm hoping that that's something that they'll fix as they go along, because again, it is very early in that. But I'm really enjoying it. I played some more off camera today for about an hour or so, and I guess what appeals the most to me is that nobody else knows how the game works yet. So it's like, hey, I figured out this game kind of sort of right away, and there's people in game right now. You could see it. Like I was playing PvP matches, and you can see it. Like there's people just shooting other players and not even going for the objectives. They're not helping out their siege weapon or anything like that. They're just kind of just hanging back and just shooting everybody. It's like, oh, okay, they're still trying to figure out how this game works, which is cool, because it means that I'm figuring it out at the same time as them. And I feel like for the first time in my life, I feel like I've gotten into a multiplayer game early enough that I haven't faced off against the tryhards yet, and I'm not getting, totally annihilated because I don't understand the meta game and all that stuff. Like nobody understands it yet, so cool. I'm on even ground for now. Misery loves company, as the case goes. Although I did see, it's a shame that I was not recording, but I did get my first defeat in PvP, first team defeat, and it was spectacular. The other team they were just a motley crew. They were all over the place. They weren't coordinated or anything like that. and we were kind of walking away with it. We had their vault down to half, and they finally got a capture, right, on their own side, and the siege weapon came up to our area, and that team, like, for that one push, did fantastic. Like, they were all working together as a team. They stayed together. They weren't all over the map. They followed the siege engine the whole way through, and they literally went from having zero progress, towards our thing, to actually defeating us. Like, they went through that one push, went through both of our fortress walls, not walls, but doors, through both of our barriers, and they got into our vaults and destroyed our vaults. So that one last push, that was incredible, and it's a shame that I wasn't recording it, because I would have gladly, despite being on the losing team, I would have gladly put that video up, because that was just incredible. But yeah, it was. I feel like I actually have a fighting chance, at least for now. That will evaporate soon, but I at least have it for now. And to be fair, too, I really enjoy the game. I'm also kind of biding my time and waiting for Overwatch. I pre-ordered Overwatch, and Blizzard announced that they were going to let more people in to the beta, this weekend. But yeah, apparently that does not include people who have pre-ordered. It's just like, yeah, we're going to do some random stuff here because we're Blizzard, and you're just going to have to deal with it. So I'm not salty or anything. Nothing like that. It's just it would be since I can't get into Overwatch yet, I'm playing Paladins, and actually I'm really enjoying Paladins. I might continue playing that even when I do have access to Overwatch. Plus, I just signed up for the beta for this other thing that I have no idea. It looks like it's going to be another team-based ones from Epic Mega Games, and nobody knows exactly what it's going to be yet, but I was looking at the website, and it's like, yeah, this looks pretty much like Paladins. It's going to be pretty much the same thing. It's called Paragon, so Paladins, Paragon, Overwatch, Battleborn, like we got the whole shabab, the whole kebab coming back to us, and just like all at once. It's like this weird trend that happens, right? It's like you get all these survival sandbox games, and then now we got all these RPGs now, and now we got all these multiplayer not free multiplayer shooters is the best way I can do it. I was trying to 5v5 shooter. I don't know what you call them, whatever. Now you got all these coming out. So it's like the tidal wave just keeps washing back and forth in the middle of the ocean. It's like, oh man, this is we're going both ways here. What's going on here? It's like you gotta follow this whole thing around. It's like, this is popular now, that's popular now. It's like trends and stuff. I feel like the old man, like, these damn kids and their trends, their trendy clothes and their trendy game genres. Back in my day, you had shareware and you liked it. Oh man, it's bad when I'm getting into my old man routine already. And speaking of which, we don't have a whole lot of time left. I do have one more item on here about YouTube, but you know what? I think we're going to wrap this one up now, because the YouTube thing, I think I'm going to end up talking about far longer than I really want to at this point. Like I said, started this recording at 12:30 at night, and it's I was pumping myself up. I'm like, oh, okay, I gotta stay awake for this. I gotta do this. Let's do this. And I was like dancing around, like, oh, getting ready. gonna be all bubbly and everything else. And now I feel like the eyes are starting to close, and the fog is wafting in. It's like, okay, let's call this one. Let's call this a night. So Thanks so much for watching, everybody, or listening on SoundCloud. And I will see you guys and gals and lovely folks next Sunday.